July 24th. That was the day everything unfolded, the day I lost everything for the next 2 weeks. It was the day when a hacker slash scammer who robbed me of much monetary substance, and from there it led into a life of strangling customer service or lack thereof for 2 weeks. I came home from a annoying day at work with a smile on my face because, I was home. It was close to the weekend, and I said July 24th. It's more accurately that I came home Thursday, the 23rd, and then the events led into the 24th. Around 11:30, like past 11:30-ish, something like that, I get a message from an old friend. Well, not old, but I hadn't spoken to them in a while. And by the time we finished a exchange of Minecraft modding for a quote-unquote friend who's having a birthday, that led to my account getting hijacked. And from there, I was up until 5 a.m. So it was like 11:30-ish to 5 a.m. And I did all of that on an empty stomach. Do y'all have any idea how it feels to go through a very rough event in your life on an empty stomach? It makes things 10 times worse. It sucks. As silly as it sounds, it really wasn't. It sucked. I hated every second of it. I literally had dinner in the oven. It didn't burn, but I had it in the oven, ready to go for when I would go back and, eat. But then I got preoccupied by the whole thing. And yeah, this led to a lot of monetary loss. I'm not going to give totals. It's none of your business. Just know I lost money trying to reclaim this account, which in hindsight, I really wish I gave nothing, because it's quite obvious and clear that no hacker in their right mind is going to return anything to you. They have all the leverage. Why would they give anything back to you? So eventually, I just threatened them with knowing someone in fraud and some other things I forgot. And from there, we disconnected contact. They tried to smooth their way into my other emails, but I was like, I'm not giving you any more information, so screw off. By the way, this is a man who has kids in their house. How I know? The man had made the dumb decision to unmute in a call that we had, and I could hear children in the background. This man is setting a very good example to his kids. Just wonderful job, dude. I hope your kids are safe. I hope you learn your lesson. May God have mercy on your soul, because if it weren't for him, I would have had no mercy on yours. Yeah, anyone who was following the Blue Sky knows how I feel about that man. My opinion is altered slightly, for obvious reasons. I don't hold grudges, and I don't do all that. I was just in the heat of the moment, very pissed off and depressed. It's one of the lowest points I've ever had in my life, and yeah, it was not fun. It was not a fun weekend, having to basically do damage control from this random person who basically went around rampaging on Discord trying to scam all my friends. Which, on that note, I apologize to anyone who got messaged by him, and I apologize to anyone who fell into his trap, because that, as someone who went through it, I know how much it sucks. That being said, I immediately went into, well, not really immediately, I had the expression when someone goes through something rather extreme in their life and they're not really showing a direct change in expression or anything. They're just kind of, sitting there with a, I guess, dejected look on their face. You can tell something's not right. Yeah, that's pretty much how I felt for like 10 minutes. And then after that, I spent a good hour trying to find some means of contacting Google directly through some customer service. Long story short, they have no customer service. The most you have is a line, like our other lines for other services like AdSense and so on and so forth. So I called it, and they basically just said, I'm going to be honest with you, you're probably not going to get it back. And yeah, because if you're not able to recover your account through their automated system, then you're screwed. And by the way, their automated system did not work. And why it didn't work is because this hacker, and I don't know how many hackers have used this exploit, but they basically turned my account into a child's account and connected it to a family link they made. And because I was a kid, I literally could not, I couldn't log into the account because obviously with, parent monitoring apps like that, they need to give the child permissions to use the account. And obviously he didn't give me any permission, so I couldn't get in at all. I'm just saying, this is an app that, as far as I could tell from my research, it has existed for over 6 years. Like Google, you have a massive security flaw on your hands. And, if I wasn't just so worn out from this event, if I was a rich man who could afford really anything, I would have sued Google into the ground. I know that sounds bold, but I would have, if I had the means, I would have gone years fighting them in a lawsuit because they, I'm not going to divulge this video. This is the second time I'm trying to record this. I'm trying to cut down the time so I don't waste y'all's time with senseless rambling. Long story short, Google not heavily, but they essentially violated my rights as a Texas citizen within Texas's Privacy Act as of 2024. There are multiple clauses. I might show them on screen. And I basically showed them what clauses they violated. And long story short, after going through like 10 different employees through Google One's support, which, by the way, you have to subscribe to Google One in order to get any direct means of contact to Google at all besides the indirect route that I explained earlier. That is rather scummy. I'm like, why would you pay while customer service? I have no idea. But I mean, welcome to greedy corporates. But after going through 10 employees through that process, eventually I managed to get to a supervisor through enough pestering. And upon showing the supervisor my rights as a Texas citizen, they gave a less than a paragraph response, or whatever. It was a really short response. And it wasn't even like a response from a legal team or anything like that. Like, they didn't properly acknowledge that I have my rights as a Texas citizen. Instead, their response was the same response every single person I talked to at Google. And that response is, let me remind you that we have limited permissions in this department. Now, for context, all I ever want, at first, I was asking them if there's any sort of circumvention that they can do. They said they have limited permissions, and I was like, okay, can you direct me to a different department with those means? And they told me, no, that doesn't exist. And come to find out, many conversations later, it does exist. It's called the Google Appeal Team. They refused to mention this until many conversations later. This was, and when I say conversations later, I mean days. Google was taking, or at least with the supervisor, they were taking forever to respond to me. Literally, they were giving one reply through email per day. And I was sitting here waiting, I needed to get my account back as soon as possible, and they were lollygagging, dragging their feet, taking all this time, and I'm like, you're not taking me seriously at all. especially considering you ignored my legal rights. So during these events, I found you can contact Team YouTube, and I did. I went through the whole process, like waiting, like they were also kind of slow at the beginning. I had to wait a few days to really get feedback for what to do. Eventually they gave me, they were asking for like information regarding to my YouTube channel, and I'll get into that. Trust me, I will. Regarding to my YouTube channel, and I gave them that information, like channel ID and et cetera, and they led me to a form. I filled out the form, and they came back to me once the form was, after they read the form after like a business day, because that's how long it typically takes. And they basically confirmed that my YouTube account was hacked. So by extension, they went ahead and disabled my entire Gmail account, which again, keep in mind, Google said they don't have any sort of manual override, or there's no other department with manual override, despite the fact that they have an appeal team, and that Team YouTube, which is owned by Google, has special permissions to disable Gmails. Yeah, sorry, Google One Team, which, by the way, I'm not listing names. This is not what I'm about. Much as I really dislike Google, like before I had a neutral attitude, now I'm like, ugh, towards them. I'm not about to start witch hunts. At the end of the day, these are employees who are just following policy. I'm just pointing out the flaw in their following of policy, because this goes beyond them following policy. They straight up were not directing me to a public service, aka their Google appeal team. This is something people can access, and they didn't tell me about it. And before y'all say, well, you could have found it, I did extensive research trying to find ways to recover a Google account. This never surfaced. This literally never came up in all the research I did. So don't come talking to me about how I'm an idiot or whatever. Literally, none of this is on me. The only part that is actually on me is that I fell for a hacker's scam. That's the only part that is my fault. I did the diligence afterwards. So back off and silence your cell phones in my theater. Thank you very much. Now, back to YouTube. They disabled the Gmail, and from there, the hacker basically got scared and deleted the Gmail. It's why in an update I mentioned it's okay to talk to me on Discord if you want to at some point, because the hacker literally had no means of accessing the Discord. So my account gets disabled, account gets deleted. I was like, thank God he doesn't have access to this, to like the account, so he can't do any more damage. And Team YouTube basically said that they can't do much more until I'm able to recover the Gmail. And that much I can believe, because I mean, at the end of the day, this, even though they have special permissions, this is YouTube. So I imagine they can't like tamper with the accounts like themselves or anything, because obviously they're not Google, they're just YouTube, and they probably just have the ability to like disable an account since it's tied to the YouTube channel. Which again, I'll get into that. You know, for all the criticism that YouTube gets, which it's valid in most cases, this situation, I am not giving them any flack for whatsoever, because they were by far the most helpful. I wasn't getting aggressive or defensive at all. Like I was having to in Google's case and Discord's, which by the way, Discord was giving me the same garbage Google was. YouTube straight up directed me to, I realize I'm like skipping around, but I'm just trying to give the cliff notes. Y'all can fill in the blanks yourselves for what happened. YouTube, after I asked, okay, could you directly email the appeal team? Because at first they asked me to try to go through the recovery process and basically like record what you're doing so they can assess what issues I'm having with trying to submit an appeal, because you can submit an appeal by yourself. But since the account on my end was deleted, I literally wasn't able to go through the steps they were suggesting. So I asked them to basically directly contact them, give them an idea of my situation, and let them, contact me after that. After waiting, I think it was like a day or two, I don't remember the exact length, the appeal team got back to me, and I was able to recover the account from there. Which, y'all, this was literally two weeks almost 2 weeks just to get to the appeal team, to get this done in literal seconds. All I had to do was click on a link they gave me, and it reclaimed my account, like in an instant. All of this would have been resolved like 2 weeks ago from when things were fixed. It wasn't like today. All 2 weeks of my life wasted because Google refused to direct me to the appeal team. Again, if I had the means, I absolutely would have sued Google into the ground. Well, I say into the ground, like they would go bankrupt. You know what I mean? Like I would find them a lot of money, because they absolutely deserve it after the cacophony I had to go through just to get to the appeal team, which I didn't even know there was such a thing until several conversations later over the span of a bunch of days. Now, I mentioned YouTube channel. The only reason I got this far is because I have a YouTube channel with a lengthy history. Like, I've had this YouTube account since 2015. I'm very, very fortunate that things lined up the way they did. Because there were several circumstances that had to align for me to have any hope of getting this account back. Grace of God on 10. Because, y'all, just a reminder, I have ADHD. And as a result of that, there are certain things I use to cope with that. And beyond just sitting down and coping and, seething and molding in my pit of despair. Beyond just that, it also helps me get things done. Like this mechanism that I use to help me get things done despite ADHD. I'm really bouncing all over the place, but it's better than my original recording, so yay. But yeah, having ADHD and losing that YouTube account, that was the most important thing to me, is reclaiming the YouTube account, which would mean I would have to get the email. Why it's most important to me is because I have 10 years worth of music saved on that YouTube account. So if I lost that, y'all, let's just say my quality of life would have dipped significantly. I'm sure there's some people around the world who would just, with a lack of understanding of disorders like this, they'll just be like, just find the music again. Just get different music. Y'all, this is 10 years of data. I literally would not get that back. There's absolutely no way. I could find a fraction of it and would basically have to spend another 10 years finding maybe half of what I had. And yeah, no. I mentally would have been broken for quite a bit. That's why this was so important to me and why I fought for 2 weeks. Because I was not about to let some template of a person ruin my life. Not only was it my conviction, but I felt compelled by the Lord himself to win this fight. Why? Because I felt it important to share my story with this. To let my story be a stepping stone for things to get better. Now, I don't know when things will get better. Who knows? All I know is I serve a God who wrote Philippians 4:13 and several other passages of overcoming adversity. So for anyone who's saying, well, it'll never happen, dream on. We have many years before this planet is collided with the sun, or whatever that phenomenon will be in the far future. We have several years before that happens, and until that day comes, Google will meet its end eventually. I don't care if it's in 200 years or a millennia. Nothing lasts forever. I don't care what y'all gotta say. God, he's got the last word. So again, put your cell phones down in my theater. Oh, and in God's Theater, he's the manager. I'm just the co-host. Oh, and also, if all this talk about Jesus and God offends you, unsubscribe. Well, I say unsubscribe, but there are no more subscribers. Just leave. I'm a Christian, and I am dang proud of that. I am not about to hold that back. If I believe Jesus is saying something, I'm going to say it. The end. So, vamonos if you are uncomfortable about that, or stay on if you feel uncomfortable about that, because you know what? We all need Jesus in our lives. But anyways, tangent aside, I'm getting on a tangent, even though I said I wouldn't get on tangents. But you know what? Whatever. This is my channel. I decide what goes on. And now I got hiccups for doing that. But anyways, long story short, Google sucks. They have no customer service, like no direct customer service without subscribing. And even then, that customer service is not a general customer service to help with a collection of things. So I am 100% seeing them getting lawsuits at some point in the future. I don't know when. I just know it'll happen. Because again, looking at this on a legal level, they violated my rights as a Texas citizen. I could have easily submitted a complaint, and Google could have ended up being fined for it. And that complaint, by the way, is free. So I would not be charged a dime. So yeah, I could have easily pressed, air quotes, pressed charges, if you will. But I didn't, because I said I would only do that if I wasn't able to reclaim my account and all the data associated with it. So I'm not going to. I'm going to let some other people who aren't able to get their way do that. Like this is the segment where I give my advice. If something like this happens to you, the only really, there's not much you can do besides the automated system, which is probably not going to work if they use an exploit like they used on me. Or you subscribe to Google One, because that is literally your only means of direct contact, and have them direct you to the appeal team or some other department that has the permissions. If they don't have the permissions to do anything, that's fine, but have them direct you elsewhere. And if they refuse, you're going to have to fight. You're going to have to fight. If your account means that much to you, you're going to have to fight like I did. Beyond Google One, your only other solution is if you have a YouTube channel, as in you've had one for, I don't know how long it has to be, just if you've had one at all and it's connected to the hacked email, get in contact with Team YouTube on Twitter, ask for the hijacking form, explain your situation, ask for the hijacking form. Before you get the hijacking form, you need to come prepared with information on your YouTube channel, like the channel ID, a URL to the channel, whatever. The channel ID is one of the most crucial elements. There's videos online, like kind of explaining what info you need, so you can look that up. I'm not gonna pull out every bit of information I don't remember, y'all. I just want to move on. Make sure you come prepared with your information, so that you can have this dealt with as soon as possible, because Team YouTube is constantly being pinged on Twitter and they're constantly wrangling with issues. So you need to be quick and concise so that you can get your issues done as soon as possible, because there are several people who are contacting Team YouTube. And with that in mind, there's no guarantee you will get contact with Team YouTube, because again, they're constantly being pinged daily on Twitter. So you're just going to have to hope and pray that you get that contact. What I would suggest you do is just ping them periodically. Don't constantly spam them, because I'm sure they'll block you at that point. But I don't know, maybe every day or every other day, just ping them, relaying that your situation in a single post, and hope that they respond. And yeah, for me, it took a couple days to get into their DMs, so you'll have to just be patient. Yeah, that's really all I can advise. Other than that, start your petitions, scream about how terrible Google's customer service is on Twitter, wherever, these are really the only things you can do. As for me, I am mentally done with this situation. If anyone is gonna be asking me for help, y'all, I'm not gonna have the energy to really offer major help. I'm only going to be able to give pretty much the stuff I said in this video. or like, I don't know, like give like my own general experience and like a summary. But with all that being said, speaking of subscribers, anyone who was subscribed, you have been unsubscribed, I'm pretty sure. So if you want to stay subscribed, then subscribe. I'm just reminding you that you have been unsubscribed, that recovering my channel has removed my subscriptions. So just resubscribe so you can get back on track with stuff. That's if you want. I don't know. Light of Zoe will resume once I get back on Discord. Reason I'm not doing it until I get back on Discord is because I shared this stuff on Discord, so it just makes sense to me to wait until then, so I can engage with people, because no offense, y'all, but y'all don't leave comments. Discord is really the only place where I get any sort of feedback. So yeah, I'm just gonna wait until I get back on Discord to post this stuff, because as I've said before, likes and dislikes and all that, it doesn't do much for me. Like, I appreciate it, but I prefer spoken word. I'm old-fashioned. What can I say? Except I'm old-fashioned. But yeah, Light of Zoe will continue once I get back into Discord. I'm just waiting for Discord to email me to waive all the reports my account got, because obviously my account was going around spreading scams, so it got reported a bunch of times, which, yeah, I can't get back in at the moment until Discord waives stuff, and they're taking a long time. So until then, I'm not posting Light of Zoe until things are in order. Now, with that being said, the Light of Zoe, as far as producing and creating the videos, they're almost done. I only have one left. I'm just waiting for something. And I have to get back on Discord to get that something. So yet another reason why I'm not going to start uploading Light of Zoe. But with that in mind, once I get all these videos edited, at this point, this video is just an update video. All my return stuff is gone, so you can leave. I'm going to go back to uploading content again, besides the Light of Zoe. I left Pokemon Y on hold for a good long while because I wanted to work on this. Like anyone who's invested in that at all, I wanted to work on the Light of Zoe. And by the time I got to the finish line with the Light of Zoe, all this happened. So, yeah, that obviously stopped everything. I'm going to be real, y'all. I was ready to just give up on the Light of Zoe. There were a lot of things that went through my head that weekend that had happened. A lot of dark things, such as giving up on the Light of Zoe. So, y'all best be thanking God that it's all back, because otherwise, yeah, that story probably would not continue. But anyways, gameplay and whatnot, that's going to make a return. However, it's not going to return with Pokemon Y right away. There's another game that I want to record and upload. And then after that, I might return with Pokemon Y. We'll see. I'm not going to abandon that series, regardless of anything. I am going to finish Pokemon Y, period. It's just, again, life happens. So it had to take less priority over other things. That other game, you will see. I've told some people what it is, but my larger audience doesn't know. So, yeah. Let's just say it's a game that I've been looking very much forward to playing it, because it's been a very long time since I've seen anything on it, and yeah, I don't really remember much of it, so that'll be a fun time. As for anything else with the channel, I mean, that's really it. The future of the channel, we'll see what happens. Pokemon Y is really the only long-term thing I have planned, so yeah. Well, there's things after Pokemon Y, but as far as immediate things besides that, I don't know. And I just want to finish out by saying, y'all, I mean, it is only by the grace of God that any of this has been possible. Because y'all, like I said, very dark things were going through my head in that process, and it was dreadful. Like, y'all wouldn't believe. I had to have a real powwow with the Lord during that, and that brought things back around, as well as this situation. So praise God. Yeah, he is my rock, and without that rock, I fall apart. It is only by his grace that I've come this far, and I will never take credit, take like sole credit for that. My efforts are strong, but his power of compelling one's spirit into action are greater still. So, yeah. It is only by that grace, that amazing grace, that I have come out on the other side with a smile on my face. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see.